How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. Well, a lot of people, when they voted earlier this week, they misunderstood what tariffs are, or they just believed the flat-out lies that they were told about what tariffs are and how they work. A tariff is not a tax on the country that is trying to send their goods to the United States. A Chinese widget, right? China isn't paying to sell their widgets here. The company that imports the widgets, the American company that imports the widgets, they are the ones who pay the tariff. What are they going to do, right? You think they might pass that cost along? Yeah, probably. And what, you think they're just going to be happy with, well, you know what, there's a 10% tariff, so we have to raise our prices by 10%? No. When does that ever work that way? We've got a 10% tariff, so let's go ahead and raise our prices 20% to make up for that tariff that we have to pay, plus, make even more profit, right? And don't get me wrong, I understand companies are in business to make money. Nothing wrong with that. I think there are shady ways that it's done sometimes, but yeah, that's the whole reason every business is in business. It's to make money, turn a profit. Nothing wrong with that. I don't like I said, I don't like how it's done sometimes, but turning a profit, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good business. But let's break this down to something that no matter where you live, no matter what town you're in, I can almost guarantee that someone in your town drives a Ford and someone in your town drives a Kia. Okay? We're going to use those, very specifically using those two, because Ford, it's an American company, right? And Kia is a Korean company. So there's going to be tariffs on those Korean cars coming in, right? Sure. But there's not going to be tariffs on those Fords because those are made in America, right? Let me ask you something. Think about this before you answer. Name one fully American-made car. Name one. I'll wait. No, I'm not going to wait because you're not going to be able to come up with one. No car is fully American-made. Every car, even American cars, are foreign cars. And many foreign cars are actually made in the United States. I just used Kia as an example, right? Kia builds a lot of their cars in Korea still, but they also build like their Tellurides and their Sorrentos. They're built here in the United States. They might have moved Sportage production here. I'm not 100% sure. But I know that a lot of their stuff is still built in Korea, and a lot of it is made here. Ford. Yeah, they build a lot of stuff here with imported parts. They also build a lot of stuff in Mexico and in Canada. So, let's just say we've got a 15% tariff across the board on everything that's imported, right? Everything, no matter where it's coming from. Your $30,000 Kia, right? And I'm just using, kind of ballpark numbers. And I'm going to use the Kia Sportage versus the Ford Escape because they are roughly the same vehicle. I mean, they're very similar in a lot of ways as far as size and capacity and, you know, seating capacity, cargo capacity. They are roughly the same vehicle. Okay, they're let's just say a Sportage is going to cost you $30,000 if you were to go out and write a check for one right now. And let's say an Escape would cost you $35,000 if you go out to a Ford dealer and write a check right now. Right? Well, that 15% tariff on that Kia, right? And this is assuming that the importing company does not raise it beyond the 15%. They keep their increase at just what the tariff is, and that's it. Your $30,000 Kia just became $34,500, right? So $4,500 increase. So now you've got a $34,500 Kia versus a $35,000 Ford $500. What's $500 when you're buying a car, right? So why not buy the Ford? Well, simple. Like I mentioned before, Fords are not only produced in Mexico, Canada, and other countries as well, but those are the main ones. They also have a lot of imported parts. You know, like a bunch of stuff under the hood that you don't think about. Oh yeah, it's made somewhere else. So let's put a 15% tariff, and Ford only passes on just that 15%, right? Your $35,000 car, which was only $500 more than your Sportage, right, just a minute ago, is now $40,000, $40,250 $40,250, $40,250. Okay, so now your originally they were $5,000, right? A $5,000 difference between the two cars. When the Kia was raised in price due to the tariff, it went up to $34,500, which put it at only $500 between the Kia and the Ford. In which case, a lot of people would go for the Ford because, you know, you want to buy an American car, right? Well, let's add that tariff on there, and now you're up to about $6,000. Actually, it's $5,750. $5,750 is the difference in price now. So the difference has actually gone up. You know, the difference has increased as well, right? So you're still incentivizing buying the Kia. Now, let's just assume for a minute that at 15% tariff, Ford only raises it. Yeah, they only raise the cost 20% to make up for that 15% tariff, right? Your $35,000 Escape is now a $42,000 vehicle. $7,000. $7,000 difference. So, you know. But let's take a look at what's more likely to happen with both of them, right? And again, I'm just spitballing numbers here instead of coming up with something exact. And by the way, even my dog is upset about it. You heard that, right? So, I don't blame you, Molly. I'd be yelling at him too. But, all right. So your $30,000 Kia at a 15% tariff, but they're not going to just raise their price 15% to make up for the tariff. No, they're probably going to raise it 25%, right? To make their profit, even more, right? So now your $30,000 car is $37,500, right? Which is still less than your Ford at 20%, by quite a bit, actually. By about, what, 4,500 if the math in my head is right. But if Ford also increases to 25%, keep in mind it was $35,000 to start. And now it's 25%. That Ford Escape is now $43,750. So, looking at cars, and price is the only factor that you're looking at, are you going to buy that Ford, or are you going to buy that Kia, even with the tariffs? Because it's not Korea that is paying to send their cars here. It is the importing company that has to pay our government for the right to import that stuff. And of course, they're going to pass that on to you. So, I've driven both Fords and Kias. I like both. And I'm telling you, if price was my only factor, yeah, I'm going with the Kia. I'm going with the Kia if that's my only factor. But more than likely, I'm not even buying a new car. I'm going to hold on to what I've got because, well, who can afford to pay that much more, right? Anyway, I'll see you next time.